Like, I'll just be praying, spend time with God, and she will always just pop in my mind.
Around the corner, like literally from behind me, comes Eddie. I had talked to my mom before we went out on this date, and I was like, Mom, like, I need to let him know that this isn't, like, I don't have time for this. Like,
Yeah, I had never been that nervous, like, in a situation like that ever before in my life. So
that's what we always say. Like, we thank God, because if it was up to me, you know,
yeah,
it would have been different.
How we met. Go ahead. How do we meet? Because I know we got different perspectives and different stories, but it's definitely a beautiful story at the end of the day. First of all, who are you?
I'm Naomi. We did this last time.
I'm Eddie. Hey, we gotta do every video for the new subscribers. But hey, yeah, today we're just talking about a little bit about how we met, you know, as believers, right? And like that all ties into our story of how we met, the importance of having God at the center of our relationship. But enough of the chit chat. How did we?
In my perspective, we met. Well, we met the first day of college, apparently. I don't remember it very much, but there was like a party get together for all the freshmen. I think they called it the Beamer Bash. It was like a celebration type of thing for like, you made it to college, you're a freshman, here, come mingle, meet people. And I was super shy. I did not want to be there. I already felt homesick. I had already been there for 2 weeks because we had preseason for volleyball, and so I was already tired, full day of practice. And so apparently, I kind of vaguely remember we were like in a game, there's like a game room with like pool tables and stuff, and I think you were sitting by the side.
Yep.
And there was like a group of guys, and I was with a group of girls who were my teammates, and they were like social and wanted to go like let's go meet some boys. And I was like, I want to go to my room, but I don't remember the interaction at all. But I guess that's the first time we met.
Yeah. I do remember on that night, you know, I was just chilling, just touched down on campus, and like she said, I'm sitting with my guys. It's like 2 of us, 3 of us. I see a group of 3 girls walk in. Right, next thing you know, like 30 seconds later, they're standing right here. I'm like, okay, they want to talk, right? And so there's some other girls like talking to me and my friends, but she's in the back, not saying a word. Like, she's just looking around. I could tell like she's shy, but I had noticed her, right? Like, just me being me, like, she just stood out to me, right? And so that was like the first time where I really noticed her, right? That was the first time we met, but we didn't have like an actual like one-on-one interaction, or it wasn't even like oh, like I'm in love with her at first sight. It wasn't like that. It was definitely the start of like a progression of events. And so, you know, being at college, I think I probably saw you around a couple times, maybe chatted with you like 1 or 2 times, but nothing major. Sophomore year, so heading into the next year, right? The end of our freshman year was COVID-19. So it was a large period of time where we were at home during quarantine. Once we came back in like August of 2020, wearing masks during COVID protocol, all that, we were in Spanish class, right?
So this is fast forward a year.
Yeah.
Because we had like one interaction the first night, and then there was another time actually close to that first interaction where he came up to me. I was making a sandwich for my class, and he came up to me and was like, hey, like, how are you? What's your name? Where are you from? So I was like, hey, I'm Naomi. I'm from Minnesota, and I gotta go. And that was about it. So, because I kind of knew, like, he had this like pride, not bad pride. Wait, not bad. He had like this
confidence.
I'm looking for a different word. No.
Swagger.
No.
Charisma.
You know when like people know they're confident and you're just like, I felt that about him.
Yep.
But it's okay because we're here now.
Yep.
But anyways, fast forward back to Spanish. We were in 2 different groups because COVID. There was like an online group and an in-person group, and we would alternate because we had to keep the classroom at small levels of people. And one day we ended up being in person together.
Yes.
Which means one of us came in person on the wrong day.
Right, keep going.
And so then he sat next to me because he sat in the back. And then the teacher was like, you guys need to move up to the front, which was interesting considering the fact it was COVID and we were supposed to be spaced out. So she was working in your favor.
God was working.
Shout out to Profe Johnson.
Yep.
Anyway, he ended up sitting next to me. That day we were talking about the weather. Talking about...
In Spanish.
What's the weather like? Which, we don't know how to say anything.
Oh no, we're not talking in Spanish.
Not right now.
Yeah,
We'll work on that next time.
We were just, chopping it up, as the kids would say these days. But yeah, I think during that Spanish class, for however many times we were actually in person together, as a believer, I know, like, you say this, your mom say this, like, spirits recognize spirits. It's like, I just knew that she was different, right? Yes, she was beautiful. Yes, she is beautiful. Even
though I had a mask like this.
Even though she had a mask on, right? You could just tell, like, her demeanor, her aura was just, like, different, right? So that's what attracted me to her. So yeah, I had to hop in my bag, get to it. It was definitely, like, a process, I think, because we got sent home early for COVID, so, like, around November, until, like, January, February was, like, the next time I saw her. We were back on campus, and life is spiritual, y'all. And so, like, we're not here to say, like, God chooses your partner, but he will definitely put people in your path. And so I know for me, like, she was just, like, in my thoughts from the perspective of, like, whenever I would pray, like, I wouldn't be thinking about her, right? Like, I'd just be praying, spend time with God, and she would always just pop in my mind. And it just felt like she was someone I was supposed to pursue, right? And so I promise y'all, one day I said, next time I see Naomi, like, I'm just asking her out. Like, I just gotta get to know this girl better, right? And it was never, with us, like, it was never a situation of, like, oh, love at first sight, or, like, oh, like, I have a crush on this person. It was just, like, a natural flow of just events that led to this. But, so yeah, I said, next time I see Naomi, I'm gonna ask her out. I didn't see her for, like, 3 weeks after I said that, but I kept thinking it. Then one day, I'm going to dinner. I literally said it to myself, because, like, every time I went out the house, I was expecting, like, see her, right? So I was like, next time I see Naomi, I'm gonna ask her out. Walk out the apartment, go to the dining hall. I turn the corner, boom, guess who's there? And so, talk from your perspective about what were you doing when I came around the corner?
So I was sitting in the, like, lower student area waiting for a friend. So I was sitting actually with a friend waiting for another friend, and I never sat down in that area, but that one day I was down there with her. We were waiting for somebody, and around the corner, like, literally from behind me, comes Eddie. And we were just sitting, me and my friend, and at the time one of his friends was talking to my friend. So he started talking to this girl, like, this my friend, just started talking to her, but deep down I was like, he's not here to talk to her. So you just were talking and whatever, and she and I are like, we're like looking at each other out of the side of our eye, like, what is going on? And then he turns to talk to me, and he said, hey Naomi, like, how are you doing? And I immediately was like, oh my gosh, like, what is he about to do? I was like, I'm fine, and then you pretty much got straight to the point, like, what are you doing on Saturday?
I got straight to the point.
You did. You got there pretty quick, and I was like, oh. And then I was like, well, I think I have practice, and I gotta get some homework done.
She tried to dub me, y'all.
I did.
She tried to dub me.
And then you said, well, what did you say? Would you like to get dinner or something? Something like that. And I looked at him, and I said, I'll let you know. And then he said...
Wait, let me say it. No, you can say it.
No, go ahead.
No, now you have to say it. Just,
okay. Yeah. I said, I'll let you know. And he said, well, you'll need my number to let me know.
Hey, all my boys, clap it up. Clap it up. That's the free sauce for the video.
And then I was like, what? So he took my phone. Well, I guess I handed it to him, but then he took it and put his number in my phone. And then I was sitting there like, what am I supposed to do now with his number in my phone? That means I have to text him. I was kind of annoyed. So I was like, okay. And then, and then after that, he, like, left, pretty much. You said, have a good night, whatever. Do you have anything to add before we move on to the next part?
No, I was gonna say from there, I just knew, like, I'm not gonna say I knew it was gonna work out, but I think I was just peaceful about it, right? Like I wasn't like stressing like, oh, like I hope she texts me, or like I hope it's gonna work out. It's just like, you know, we're not here to over spiritualize it, but it's like if you feel like God is leading you in a certain direction, once you take the action He's calling you to do, you could be at ease about it. You could be at peace. And so I just know, like, you texted me the next day.
Yeah, why did I text you back so fast?
Because you were interested, even though you weren't. Tell them, because like you said, you really didn't like me, or
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Long story short, like I had said at the beginning, Eddie had this like confidence about him, but he knew he was confident. So because of that, I was like, no. Like he knows he's confident. Like he likes himself too much. Like he's feeling himself too much. So then in my mind, I'm like, humble him. You know what I mean? That was like really tough.
Humble him. Dang, that sounds evil.
Well, no, I'm not evil, but in my head I was like, well, okay. But then the thing is, my friend texted you. I didn't text him first. My friend texted him from my phone because she's like, you need to go on this date. Like, you need to. Like, you have to. Like, my other friend... I forgot to add this. I forgot to add this. By the time Eddie had asked me out when we were sitting in that area, there was 2 other of my friends standing there with me. So he did ask me out in front of other people, too. So I have to give you that. But because of that, my friends were like, you have to go out once with him. Like, you have to. So my friends do get some credit. I have 2 friends. One who was sitting down there with me, and one who texted him back.
Yep.
So you got blessed. But anyways.
She texted me, and it was interesting because she said, hey, I'm not up for dates right now.
Yeah. Basically, I was saying no.
Yeah. But she still left the door open, right? She said, I'm not really up for dates right now, but we can get coffee, right?
Because he wanted to get dinner.
So in my mind, that says she wants to go on a date, right? Like, I just felt like she was playing hard to get. And I started a journey of pursuing. I know it's not even a date. First time we started talking, like, went to go get coffee. I'm not even going to lie, I was mad nervous, right? And it's not like I was, like, going into it, I'm like, yo, like, you know, I'm just going to go chat with this girl, right? But when I got there, like, I don't know why, but I was, like, beyond. I had never been that nervous, like, in a situation like that ever before in my life. So I felt embarrassed, low-key, but I needed that. Yeah. Because I had thought that he was so overly confident. So then when I saw him a little bit, like, nervous, I hadn't seen that nervous side of him. I was like, oh, this is good. This is, like, humility, I guess, if you will. Yeah.
But that also was good because then I kind of was already picking up on like the spirit he carried, like discerning that he wasn't like he didn't have any bad intentions with me.
Yeah.
So when it came to God and like my prayer about it, I was like, okay, Lord, point out if there's anything about him that I should not be around. So just in my own prayer time, I had to see if he was worth investing time in. Like, is this somebody who has good intentions? Is he somebody who's like trying to get into a relationship with me for the wrong reasons? Like, you can't just trust people just because we go to a Christian school.
Yeah.
I had to figure out who you were.
Because people are low. People are weird.
So anyways, the fact that you were a little bit nervous on our first interaction, and we didn't even go off campus. We went to the coffee shop on campus because I was like, I don't know about this. And he was a little bit nervous, and it was a pretty short, we don't even really call it a date.
Yeah, it was like 20, 30 minutes.
Because we both had practice. But also the other thing about me is I actually have a video in my phone post that coffee saying, I don't know about this. Like, he wanted to... Eddie likes to go to practice early because you play basketball. I play volleyball. But he liked to get to practice early, but I thought that he was kind of making an excuse, like he was ready to be done. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't think that this went very well. Like, he was super nervous. I wasn't nervous at that point because I was like, I don't even really like him like that. So I'm just in this to see what happens. And so I wasn't nervous at all. It was an interesting interaction. I mean, yeah, you didn't even ask me out again after that. And I had texted him. You texted me something. I responded to your text. And then I saw you in person with some of your friends, and you said, I saw your text, I'll get back to you when I can.
I remember that.
I was like, what?
So you were thinking I wasn't feeling you?
Yeah, but I was like, that's fine. But I was like, not him, like, in front of my friend, in front of his friends, like, I saw your text, I'll get back to you. And you know, his friends are like, oh my God. And I'm just like, I was just being honest.
But yeah, after that, it's probably like a week or two. Like, we stayed in contact, and then, yeah, like, from my perspective, like, I thought it went well, and yeah, I just still felt it in me to like pursue. So like at that point, there still wasn't like strong emotional like feelings or attachment. But it was like I just knew, you know, she was a good girl, and I just wanted to learn more about her, right? And so we ended up going to Starbucks after.
But that took a while.
Right,
you got he got COVID.
I did get COVID.
He got COVID, and I was excited because I was like, that sounds really horrible. But I was like, oh, good, I don't have to go out with him because he's sick. So, because our date, our like upcoming date had gotten canceled.
Right.
So I was like, oh, fine, that's fine. You know, I hope you feel better. You know, you're in quarantine. And at that point, quarantine was still like
10 days.
Yeah, it was long. So I was like, okay, cool. So then we eventually went to Starbucks, had more of a conversation. I was a little bit nervous for that one. I think it was after church. And then that just kept leading to more and more.
You good.
Dates.
Yeah.
I was looking at this.
So more and more dates. And then we ended up going to a town called Naperville out in Illinois. Well, no, before that, it almost ended. So we wanted to walk before Naperville, right?
Oh, yeah.
So listen, we went on a walk. It was one of those times where we were just meeting up, right? We went for a walk around campus just to talk, right? And so it was an interesting meetup because this was the first time where like we explicitly talked about like our faith, right? So like we were just talking like real surface level, like about basketball, volleyball, school, just like surface level things. But this was the first time where we really talked about our beliefs, right? Our relationship with the Lord. And I think it was a wake up call for you. 'Cause I think for me, like I always discern that, you know, you were a godly woman. Like you even still surprised me too, just like with the depth of your relationship. But I think for you, talk about that.
Well, first of all, I had talked to my mom before we went out on this date, and I was like, Mom, like, I need to let him know that this isn't, like, I don't have time for this. Like, I'm trying to get into medical school. Like, I gotta focus on school and volleyball. Like, I don't have time to be doing this. And so, basically, I was gonna prepare to tell him that this wasn't gonna work. Like, I would, like, thank you for your time, but I'm, like, not gonna do this. So my mom was like, well, rather than just saying that, why don't you ask him, what are your intentions for this relationship? So the whole time we're on the walk, we're talking about, shout out to Mom. Pastor Laurel. So the whole time I was thinking about asking him that. And so like while we were talking about bigger things about God, it was good because it helped me to see that he was like, he wasn't shallow. Like he had depth to him when it came to the Lord. And that was helpful for me because I was like, okay, he could be like trustworthy. Like he could be somebody that I could see myself being with on a faith basis. So that was good. But that was in my head the whole time. I was prepared to say, this is not going to work. After I had seen that he was like, he had some depth, we started like talking about scripture, and he knew certain scriptures. We realized that our families had similar upbringings for us. We realized that like we were on the same page in terms of faith and God and all those things. So then, by the end, go ahead.
So she had asked me, essentially, after all that, she's like, so what are your intentions for like us going on these walks and talks and right? And so I knew that was coming eventually, right? And so I just kept it honest with her, right? I was like, listen, like, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is like, you know, being girlfriend, boyfriend, or like dating. And I was like, you know, if it works out well and we think that's in our best interest, then it'll lead there. But I just wanted to get to know you for who you were, and like I could just tell, like I've been saying on this video, I could just tell by your demeanor that like you were a godly woman, like you were somebody worth getting to know.
Thank you.
And so I told you that straight up. And then we went our separate ways after that. But you said something that like it low-key made me discouraged, because I feel like it might have been over at that point. It was like, I forget exactly.
I think I had basically said, I think I had reiterated my first text about how I wasn't interested in dating, more or less.
Right.
And I think I was basically just kind of like, like I'm really focused on school. Like I still don't think that I'm up for being in a relationship, you know, but more or less you seem Yeah, like a good person to get to know.
Right.
So I think basically I said, I'd like to continue to be friends, but I don't think that I can commit to being your girlfriend right now.
Boys, if a girl asks you to be her friend, well, you didn't ask me directly.
No, but that's what was in my head.
Right. It's no friend zone, boys. No such thing as a friend zone. So you just gotta be aggressive, or that's another video for another day.
Be intentional.
Aggressive was the wrong word.
Don't be aggressive.
Intentional, be intentional. And that's what I was. I was intentional.
He was.
And so after that, like, I walked back to my dorm room, like, low-key discouraged.
Oh.
But
I'm sorry.
no, it was all part of the plan. But then, like, once I thought about it, like, I felt good about it. Right? I couldn't really describe it, but hold on, babe. So yeah, after that, God's plan, it worked out. We ended up going on another date, and that one was to Naperville, right?
Yeah, then we went out to dinner.
And in my opinion, that one was really good. Where, like, at that point, like, after that date, like, she felt like my girlfriend. She felt like my lady at that point. Even though we hadn't made it official. Yeah. And I think, that conversation that we had just about our faith, like, really set the foundation for what was coming next. So yeah, we went on a few dates. Anything else for May 1st, 2020?
I would just say the Naperville date, we were supposed to have a dinner reservation that ended up, like, not coming through. So we walked around for, like, 2 or 3 hours waiting for this reservation, but I don't think we even realized it had been 2 or 3 hours. We were just talking, walking by the river, and then we had, like, a dinner somewhere else. But because I was in Chicago with my friends, drove back into the suburbs 45 minutes just to go on this date. So I think at that point I was, like, really still, like, felt like you were someone worth getting to know. So that's why I put my time into it. I think I started getting nervous then too, because I think I started liking you.
Yep.
Okay, fast forward
to May 1st, 2021. It just, like, my birthday was 2 weeks prior, and I forget what happened exactly, like, why we didn't go on my birthday. But anyways, we went to Chicago to celebrate my birthday, just her and I, and had no intentions of, like, being like, okay, I'm gonna ask her out on this day. But it was just like, we were just going out just to go out.
Right before school ended.
Right before school ended, right? I was anticipating, like, going, like, we were going to go our separate ways for the summer, but, like, still stay in contact. And then once the school year came back, really make a move. But God's ways are higher than our ways, right? So we go on this great day in Chicago, right? Go to all these places. Had experiences, went to dinner, and then was there anything, like, specific that happened on that day before we got on the train?
I just knew that you were thoughtful. So, like, you had picked, like, a hibachi restaurant because I told him that I like Asian foods, just like any kind. And so he had picked, like, a hibachi place. So I was like, oh, so he's thoughtful and he listens. Yep. So that was nice. And then
I remember I talked to your mom on the train ride there because it was Camille's prom.
It was my sister's prom. And so I was, like, talking to my sister and seeing her get ready, and then Eddie talked to my mom over the phone, like FaceTime.
Right. And yeah, it was just good vibes all around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great day in Chicago. Moment of truth. We get on the train back to our college campus, and, like, we're just tired, right? Like, it was a long day, but we're feeling good, right? We get on the train. At this point, like I said, like, she felt like my girl. Like, it was natural for me. I'm sure you're still, like, probably a bit nervous, whatever. But it's like we're sitting on the train. Like, she wants to sit across from me, right? Like, not even next to me. I'm like, yo, like, come over here, come sit next to me. And I got her like this.
Whoa.
We're just chilling. And I could feel like she's a little tense, because, like, oh, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's still not in my mind to, like, I'm going to try to ask her out. But we just started talking. And in that, like I said, she naturally felt like she was my girl. And so just through conversation, something came up where I was like, yo, I said, you're really, like, sitting here like you're my girl right now.
You're not.
But you're really not. And then what did you say?
I said, well, we could talk about that if you want. See, because he said, you're sitting here like you're my girl, but you're not. I was nervous, I remembered, because the way that he had asked me to go out with him that day was, he said, I need you to help me celebrate your birthday. We're going to get on the 2:00 train into Chicago. We're going to get on the 9:00 train out of Chicago, and everything in between is a surprise. So then I was like, okay. So that was significant context for why I was a little bit nervous, I think. But I was excited. So then you had told me that I was sitting there like, I'm your girl, but I'm not. And then I said, oh, you want to talk about that?
I'm not going to lie, that scared me. My heart low-key dropped. Not because I didn't want to ask her out, but I just wasn't prepared to.
It wasn't part of the plan.
That wasn't part of the plan. So yeah, that just led to a 10-minute conversation of just her initial thoughts of me. What did you say? You thought I was just
I thought you were a basic basketball player.
Like a jock, you know what I'm saying?
Looking for a girlfriend.
Yeah. And so that was a really good conversation. Just once again, just really getting to know each other, understanding where we're coming from. Yeah.
I mean, my question came not as much as of I want to be your girlfriend. It more the question from me came as a challenge, kind of. More so a challenge, because it was if I'm sitting here I'm your girl, but I'm not, what do you, you're the one who told me to come sit next to you, and you're the one who put your arm around me, so why don't we talk about it?
Hey, we love a good challenge. As you can see, sitting in this car. We love us a good challenge. And so, yeah, we started talking, and then basically, I was kind of bringing out scenarios for her. Because I think at that point, we could just tell the energy, this is where it was headed. And so I was I said, so, after saying all this, I said, if we go back on this campus, and I tell people that Naomi Bunker is my girlfriend. I said, is that what it is?
What did I say?
You said, I don't know, you tell me. And what did I say?
You said, basically you said, you are.
I said, you my girl.
And I was like, wait, what?
And that is the story of how we met now. Right? It's definitely a journey.
Don't forget the old man in the corner who was staring at us.
Oh yeah, that was bad. Respectful.
That was awkward.
But, so it's definitely a journey for us to start dating. And, it's easy to say the rest is history. We'll talk more about, some of the experiences we've had in our relationship, but it's really just been beautiful. I truly do believe that whenever God wants to bless you, he doesn't bless you by giving you physical things, but he blesses you by sending the right people into your life. And so I know a lot of you guys watching this video, you may be looking for that significant other, right? It's just important to know. And for us, I want you to speak on this, the importance of being perfected, being prepared in your time of singleness, being prepared in your purpose, so that God can mold you and shape you for the person that he has for you. And I know that was very big for the reason why we're still together today, and just the things we've experienced. So yeah, talk a bit about that.
Yeah, people always talk about seasons of singleness. For me, Eddie is the only person I've ever dated before. So it wasn't even a season of singleness for me as much as it was my life to just, we're only 22, so it wasn't it was a crazy long situation, but I didn't entertain any of the requests to date or go out with people in high school. And so I think that that's part of the reason why I was ready to just cut things when you had first asked me out, because I was that's just not part of the plan. I'm not doing that right now. But long story short, it was because of my intimate time with God that I really knew who I was. And I was really sure about the things that I did and didn't want. I was really sure about the path that I was working toward. So regardless of how that, comes to be, at that point I was working towards med school. But regardless, I knew that I was in college to get good grades, to compete well on the volleyball team, to make good friends and relationships at a Christian school, and that was my plan.
Yeah.
So, but before he came along, I hadn't even thought about a guy, because I was I'm trying to do my thing, I'm independent. But it was also time that I had spent praying, and I remember I had finished a fast pretty close to when he asked me out.
Yeah.
So it was I had just been really close and intimate with the Lord in a very specific way. And that's one of the first times I had done a fast too. So I don't think that, I always say there's no coincidence when it comes to God.
Amen.
So like when there's like things that happen and it looks like a coincidence, it's really not. That's just God's intentional timing and plan. And I think he does that to get our attention. But yeah, I had just been consistently living my life to focus on the Lord. And then even in college had been intentional about really getting into the Word on my own. And so I was pretty sure about who I was. And so then when he came along, it wasn't like I was finding someone that completed me by any means. I wasn't finding like someone to make me whole.
Right.
I was just finding a good addition to what I already had.
Yeah, that's powerful. I know for me, like from the male perspective, and not even from the male perspective, just in general, right? Like I've heard it been taught that, thinking about the story of Adam and Eve, right? It's said like before God gave Adam Eve, God gave Adam work, right? God gave Adam the command to name the animals, to manage them. And when he was walking in his purpose, that is when his helper came, right? God can't give you a helper until the helper has something to help you with, right? And, you know, having a woman is so much more than being a helper, right? And that's another video. I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot. But I know for me, from my perspective, right, I know God was doing a lot in my life just in terms of revealing my purpose to me, revealing your purpose to you. And I feel like it was just God's perfect divine timing to where when we became like cognizant and aware and like started walking in our purposes, who God created us to be, right? That's when we came together. So not just so that you could help me with my purpose, but so that I could help you with your purpose, even so that the united purpose that God has for her and I combined, we can start walking in that. And so it all comes from, you know, I tell people be like, man, like you and Naomi are so great. Like I can't wait till I get my girl. Or I'm sure like people ask you for relationship advice too. Like I always tell them, like, bro, like for men, focus on you, right? Focus on like simple stuff like reading. Like I would say read the Bible, just like personal development, right? Think about what you want to do with your life, right? You have to build a life that somebody could come join, right? Like don't just go looking for somebody and not have anything to bring to the table, right? Even simple things like getting in a gym, like all these things, just developing yourself as a man, right? That you'll be so focused on serving God, becoming the best version of yourself, that when God brings you the woman or allows you to find the woman that he has for you, you're not even like going out your way to do it. And I think that's the last thing I want to say. When you're walking on a straight and narrow path, if you have to go out your way to find something for yourself, then it's probably not of God. Whenever you're walking on the straight and narrow path, it just comes naturally, right? It's going to be along the path. So if you're working to become that best version of yourself, if you're working to serve God, to fulfill your purpose, that lady's going to come. That man's going to come. You don't have to go look for it. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Everything else will be added to you, right? So when you serve God, he's going to give you everything that you need to fulfill that purpose, to bring glory and honor to him. And I just believe that's been a big testimony in our relationship. And I'm just grateful for you. Extremely grateful for you.
Praise God that his ways are better than ours.
Amen. Because you would have missed on your blessing.
I really was trying to block my blessing. I wouldn't even lie. That's what we always say. Like, we thank God because if it was up to me, you know, it would have been different. But I'm very thankful now. So praise God. It's all part of the process.
Amen. So yeah, do you have anything else you want to say before you get up out of here?
Nope.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let us know in the comments down below what other topics, what other stories you guys may want to hear from us, any questions, right? We're looking forward to just putting out this content, these videos, right, to really just share our experiences and just motivate you. You know, we're not like we don't intend for this to be like a relationship channel or anything. We're going to talk about relationships, but we're really here just to talk about ultimately your relationship with God, right? Fulfilling your purpose for him and living the best life that he has designed for you to live. So the lighting just got terrible because we're sitting under a tunnel.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that being said, we appreciate you guys. You should leave a like on the video. Hey, have a blessed rest of your day. Give them a little word of encouragement before we leave.
Just read one little verse in the Bible today. Just one little thing.
Wow.
Just something that makes you feel good. That's all.
That's all it takes.
One little verse.
So yeah, have a blessed rest of your day. We love y'all. Take care. Let's go.
Bye.